I don't specifically recall, but I would guess fairly.
That should be more clear. Was he compensated with salary, or would it have been investment-based or securities or fee-based? Do you recall what was the way in which you would compensate him?
I don't recall.
We discussed earlier, I think, that the breadth of his theft from you, I think, has been estimated by your counsels to be the hundreds of millions. Do you recall approximately what Mr. Epstein's total compensation would have been in his time with you?
I'm sure I would have known them, but I don't recall.
I'd like to talk about Mr. Epstein's misappropriation or theft of your assets. And so I will introduce as Exhibit E So this is an excerpt from a memo that the Department of Justice wrote in December of 2019. And DOJ was assessing the extent to which people around Epstein might have been liable for their conduct.
Okay.
The memo is long. I have given you only the excerpt that relates to you. There's nothing else in this document that relates to you directly. The section that I've given you on the second and third pages of the document, that's 65 and 66 at the bottom. This is a summary of a proffer that your lawyer or lawyers gave to DOJ in July of 2019. With respect to Epstein's theft from you, in the second half of the second paragraph, I'll read it out loud. Your attorneys, quote, explained that over his years handling Wexner's finances, Epstein stole or otherwise misappropriated several $100 million from Wexner. That misconduct, together with the fees that Epstein paid himself for his services to Wexner, appears to account for virtually all of Epstein's wealth. So several $100 million is a large but not precise figure. To the best of your knowledge, how much exactly did Epstein steal?
I don't know. I don't think I'll ever know.
I'd like to try to understand a little bit better how Epstein was able to steal or misappropriate that many funds. One way, reportedly, is that the trusts that we described earlier, which I know you said you have no recollection of, I just want to be thorough. The trusts that he was trustee of would receive gifts of limited stock, and he would then sell that stock on the New York Stock Exchange and then use a portion of those proceeds for his own personal purposes. Do you have any knowledge or recollection of what I just described?
I'm effing surprised. I'm shocked. I didn't know this.
Is it that you have not previously heard what I just described?
I never heard of it, never saw this document.
And it was publicly reported, I think, by ABC several years ago, but not ever on your radar.
Never.
Okay. The report indicates that it was more than or around $1.3 billion of stock that Epstein moved around that way. Not that he kept all of that money for himself, but the total amount of stock sales was over $1 billion. You have no knowledge or awareness of that.
I don't know the amounts. The only trust that I'm aware of is my wife set up trusts for our kids, so however she set them up in the amounts, I have no idea what's in them then or now.
And then separately, it's been reported that around $20 million of stock and cash were contributed by two of your charitable foundations to one of Epstein's charities. Do you have any knowledge or awareness of that?
Effing shocked. I'm appalled. I never heard that. Did you know that? No. Except, so.
Thank you, Mr. Director. We have some additional questions, and we have some questions from some of the members here. I'll start. I want to just go back to something. Now, earlier in the deposition, Mr. Director, you said that you were never aware of Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell sexually abusing minors or adult women. Is that correct?
I know Jeffrey was accused by an adult woman of abusing her, and that's the only thing that I knew until the shit hit the fan.
So prior to it becoming public knowledge, you were never aware
No.
of Jeffrey Epstein?
Absolutely not.
Were you ever
You have to
aware?
wait till he finishes asking the question.
Sorry.
The court reporters will get mad at you if you don't.
Okay, so I think you said that, you said that you were not. Were you ever aware of Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell sexually abusing men or boys?
No.
Okay. How about trafficking men or boys?
No.
Prior to it becoming public knowledge, were you ever aware of Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell arranging for a prominent person to have sex with another person?
Never.
Okay. Can I ask you, Mr. Wexner, were you ever with Jeffrey Epstein in the presence of women or men in bathing suits or underwear?
No.
Never in the presence of women or men in bathing suits or underwear with Mr. Epstein?
No. I mean, if he was at the fashion show, if he was at the fashion show, he'd have seen women in underwear, but, 500 people.
So you're saying that if he was at a fashion show with you through the fashion business,
Yeah.
it may have been the case, but could it have been the case that you were with Mr. Epstein maybe prior to the fashion show or in another space?
No. Absolutely not.
So did any women or men ever model clothes for you in the presence of Mr. Epstein?
No.
So not at a fashion show and not in a private home or residence?
As being in the audience at the fashion show would have been the only possible time.
Are you aware of any individual that has given either a public statement or any information of anyone that has actually said that they believe you were with Mr. Epstein in the presence of women or men modeling clothes or underwear?
I think the answer is no, but I'm not sure I understand the question.
I'll move on. Just a direct question for you, sir. Also, did you yourself ever have a sexual encounter with any individual that was introduced to you by Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
No.
Did you personally have a sexual relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
Are you aware that others have claimed that you had a sexual relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
Did you ever suspect, sir, if Jeffrey Epstein ever had any sexual relationships with other men?
No.
But since it being public knowledge, you are now aware that Jeffrey Epstein had inappropriate sexual relationships with other women. Is that correct?
Yes, what I know from the press, the stories, yes.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Ansari?
Thank you. I'd like to ask you about Epstein's properties and your visits to them. Of course, Epstein's New York and New Albany houses were originally yours, as we discussed earlier, and you also had a house in Palm Beach, is that correct?
Objection. I think he testified that the house in New Albany was Mr. Kessler's.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to clarify.
No, thank you. And the house in Palm Beach, was there a house that you had in Palm Beach, sir?
I did have a house in Palm Beach
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's home in Palm Beach?
once.
Can you tell us about that visit?
He bought a house in Palm Beach, and he wanted me to see it. I think he wanted me and Abigail to see it. And we flew down on like a Sunday morning with friends of ours from Columbus. Looked at the house, congratulations, got back on the plane and came home. So, and it was a pretty modest house. Nothing special.
So one trip, in that trip, did you ever witness Donald Trump at the house?
No,
Do you recall any other prominent figures at the Palm Beach house?
no, it was just Jeffrey and my friends,
Who were the other friends?
Judy and Steve Tuckerman, Dr. Stephen Tuckerman and his wife Judith.
I'm sure they'll be delighted about that.
No, they won't be.
Did
They're in
you,
heaven.
did you ever visit his island in the U.S. Virgin Islands?
Yes,
Can you tell us about those visits?
yes. Jeffrey invited us to see it, and we were on a boat, and we went to the island with our kids. So Abigail, myself, but I can't remember how many kids we had, 2, 3, or 4, but at least 2, walked around for a while and left. Probably an hour visit.
Okay, an hour. So on that trip, do you recall seeing any prominent figures on the island?
No, and it was a pretty crummy island.
Okay. Did you ever visit his ranch in New Mexico or his house in Paris?
Do you want to break those up for clarity?
Did you ever visit his ranch in New Mexico?
It was the same kind of thing. He wanted Abigail and I to see his ranch. We flew down there and drove around for an hour or two, got back on the plane and came home. And I don't think he had a house.
So you would fly just to go visit for 1 hour?
Yeah, I would fly to Europe for 1 hour on business trips. As crazy it is, getting on the plane and going places for me was like going to the mailbox. And he didn't have a house on the ranch, and I never knew he had a house in Paris.
And in the ranch in New Mexico that you spent an hour at, were there any prominent figures or anyone that you recall else being there?
No, as I recall, it was just Abigail, myself, and I think he'd rented a trailer, so it wasn't a house. And that's all I know.
Okay. And so to clarify, you didn't know he had a house in Paris, so you did not ever go to the house in Paris?
I didn't know he had a house in Paris, and therefore I didn't go to the house in Paris.
Okay.
Didn't.
During any of your visits to any of these properties, did you ever see any girls or women that looked unusually young?
No,
Did you ever hear rumors of any girls or women who looked unusually young visiting Epstein's properties or island?
no, never did.
During any
Or
visits
Finch.
to Epstein's property, did you ever see photographs or other images of women or minors?
Not that I recall.
Did you ever become aware of Epstein transporting women or minors using assets that you owned, whether that's a plane that you owned or a yacht that you owned?
Absolutely not, no.
And did you ever hear of any rumors related to Epstein's personal life or his sexual activities?
No,
Rumors that you may have heard in the grapevine.
it's kind of ambiguous. I mean, like, I'll answer you in this. I think you're asking an ambiguous question. I would go to visit David Gergen at Harvard because I was very interested in the center of public leadership. And David would say, Jeffrey was up here, your friend Jeffrey was up here, and he was visiting Henry Rosofsky, who was the dean of Harvard College, or he was visiting Larry Summers, and he always has an admin with him, or, a girl. And he says a woman, maybe more accurate. He said he never travels by himself.
And I think that's what I'm referring to. I mean, I don't think I'd get through a day without hearing a rumor about somebody. So I imagine somebody that you were close to, you probably heard.
No, but it wasn't, it was more like he was traveling with his admin or his secretaries or his lady lawyer or his lady accountant. That's what I would hear. But it wasn't, I never heard rumors about Jeffrey was traveling around with a girlfriend for this, or a girl. It was like, it was part of his, I don't know, social visits or something. It was always, if I heard, it was in reference to work, his work.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Crockett?
Yes, thank you. I actually want to start in a little bit of a different place really quickly. Dr. Mark Landon, are you familiar with him?
Who?
Dr. Mark Landon?
Yes.
Okay. He was paid by Epstein on your behalf to consult on biomedical investments, is that correct?
I just heard about that. I didn't know that until maybe, I don't know, the last few days.
Okay, so with you knowing Dr. Mark Landon, are you aware as to whether or not Dr. Landon ever was paid to render medical services to any of the alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein?
No?
What is your relationship with Dr. Landon?
Abigail had a complicated pregnancy, and their general obstetrician, I believe, referred her to Mark Landon. He is an obstetrician. And that's how I met him, and he delivered our children.
Okay.
And so my relationship with him is my wife's doctor.
Did you ever introduce him to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
Okay. All right. Did you ever spend time with Epstein and Donald Trump?
Together?
Yes.
I want to answer this question accurately. I would go to some of the Victoria's Secret fashion shows because it's very important to the brand. At some of the fashion shows, Jeffrey was there and some Trump was there. And I remember because Trump would always introduce himself to me. And I always thought it was kind of odd that he was at the fashion show because he had nothing to do with fashion. So the coincidence of them being together at an event, it could have been that, but I have no specific recollection. They never had a social or like a drink or a cup of coffee, something, you know, that would put them together.
Okay, so just to clarify, because I want to make sure we're clear on the record, you're saying that you can recall instances potentially where Epstein and Trump were together and you were in their presence, or just a random scenario where Epstein may be there, Trump may be there separately, and then you would be there?
It would be at random. That would be accurate. If it happened, but I have no specific recollection.
Okay. Did you ever see or become aware of President Trump having a sexual relationship with a person who was introduced to him by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Has Donald Trump ever discussed Jeffrey Epstein with you?
No.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever discuss Donald Trump with you?
I would describe it, he would name drop it. So he would say things like, I know President Clinton, or I know the Pope, or I know God, or, you know, or I know you. It was that kind of name dropping, but never, I can't remember a specific place, but Jeffrey dropped a lot of names.
Okay. So to clarify, you believe he's specifically dropped Donald Trump's name?
No, I'm saying it could have, and I don't remember.
Okay. Did Epstein ever share any information with you about Donald Trump's sexual activities?
No.
Do you have a relationship with Donald Trump?
No.
But you've met him before.
He introduced himself to me at the fashion show a couple of times, but I wouldn't say, hello, how are you? Like you say, met, like we knew each other. We don't know each other. He wouldn't. I'd be shocked if he remembered me.
Okay. And I know that you specifically mentioned the island, that you have been to Jeffrey's Island. Do you recall seeing any of those persons that Jeffrey Epstein would name drop while you were on his island?
No, nobody was there but Abigail, myself, Jeffrey, maybe somebody cutting grass or something. There was a maintenance person, I think, but I don't specifically recall. I know for sure I was there, Abigail was there, Jeffrey was there.